The beginning of the end crackles in a distant radio. Welcoming words of a news commentator attempt to distract from junk piles and broken picture frames. As you proceed through one corridor, only to find yourself in an identical model, the reality of your purgatory begins to cement. Crime reports and radio static give way to a thunderous quiet. Chandelier swings and the dance of rain on window pane is all you have to listen to anymore. Other than a coat rack and the cockroaches that have colonized your home, you're alone. Everything continues to go wrong. Hell's hallway animates and frightens with every reluctant push of the door. Death is in front of you, but a ghost of the past lies not far behind. And the scariest part is that none of it matters. Every step is ultimately in vain. All you can do is walk down the same dark alley until a past sin named Lisa spells your inevitable end. You're in a world that makes no sense, in a world that's increasingly hostile, and in a world in which you have no control. PT, otherwise known as Hideo Kojima's late summer fever dream, felt and still feels unreal to me, as in its aura suggests that it shouldn't exist. It's as if an entity got stuck in my PS4 and now wants me trapped along with it. Knowing that this is only supposed to be a short demo for a canceled Konami game provides little mental solace. I still see this face in my nightmares. I still can't stand the fake 7780s logo, pulsing tricircle, or static radio cries. And I still can't make peace with a residential hallway without at least turning the lights back on, or walking through quicker than whatever pace this is. PT feels expertly crafted to return me back to a time when I intentionally left my closet door open and Galaxy nightlight on, making sure that there were no monsters waiting for me to drift from consciousness. It's incredible just how effective it is in making my heart race and reminding me of childhood fears. Even to this day, where my marvel for the macabre has extended greater than any labyrinthine hallway, I can still barely stand to play more than 7 minutes of this 2014 delisted Silent Hill advertisement. It should be the scariest thing I've ever played. So please tell me why the actual game that terrifies me the most is one that looks and sounds like this. Half-Earth Socialism is a free game on Steam developed by seemingly 4 people and published by Trust? Okay. And is, without a doubt in my mind, the scariest game I've ever played. This management sim that runs on PC, Mac, SteamOS, and your grandmother's broken toaster takes place in an alternate universe where in 2022 there is a near global socialist uprising uniting most countries under one banner, and you have been elected the new government's first lead eco-planner. Your job is to work with the other members of parliament to come up with and enact the best strategies for saving the planet. You essentially have free reign as a sort of dictator to enact any policies you want as long as they are vaguely in the realm of being environmental. But there are different parliamentary factions you'll have to contend with who will try to throw you out if you make them too upset or don't have enough support from others. And these aren't just your run-of-the-mill American-style political factions of conservative and slightly less conservative, mind you. You have authoritarians, consumerists, liberals, and an Elon Musk-esque faction, all representing remnants of the old neoliberal society that has just collapsed. And even the more extreme left-leaning groups that have formed in the revolution's wake, like the animal liberationists, ecofeminists, and the Fanonists, which is literally a political faction centered around the social philosophies of Frantz Fanon, which made me unironically do the DiCaprio point-at-screen meme the first time I played the game. You can ally with any of these factions for bonuses, but just because the people in Parliament like you, doesn't mean that you're necessarily doing your job well. You still have to make drastic changes that most won't like, but that will really put a dent in the environmental crisis. And you have to start making these changes pretty quickly, or you won't be able to reverse Earth's decay fast enough. Because of this, many have complained on Steam that while it's pretty fun, it's too difficult. To put this in a greater perspective, a standard run of the game will probably take you an hour to maybe 2 hours. I have almost 60 hours of total playtime in this game, and I've yet to fully win a single run. Don't get me wrong, I've gotten to the end of my planner's life without getting my 4-leaf clover-looking head cut off by the Parliament's ethically sourced guillotine, but never have I reversed the effects of climate change so drastically to warrant global approval of my tyrannical tenure while I drift from my biodegradable deathbed to the great beyond. The most I've been able to hope for in the end is an heir to my eco-empire that doesn't reverse all the progress I've made and a nuanced bibliography in the history books. And while it may just be my fragile gamer ego, I don't think my chronic lack of success is actually due to me being bad at the game. Rather, I think it's indicative of why this deep-fried Brussels sprout of a management sim is actually so terrifying. What's so genius about Half-Earth Socialism's horror is that it comes from seemingly an inverse of the principles that make horror games like PT so scary. PT is terrifying for a lot of reasons, but mainly because of how it disempowers the player. You can't defend yourself, you can't even run half the time, you will probably die because your death is the goal of forces much greater than you. So the tension builds and the fear while playing is high. This isn't even just true for games like PT or Outlast, this also applies to the survival horror genre as a whole. Alan Wake 2 and Resident Evil 2 Remake allow you to match the power of your enemies, but just as long as you have enough resources. When I played those games, I wasn't afraid of the licker or horde of shadows blocking my path because of those encounters themselves. I feared them because even if I survived, I may have done it in a way that dooms me for the next encounter. I also think this explains why more action-packed horror titles like Resident Evil 8 and 4 Remake have specific sections designated to disempowering the usually well-equipped player as much as possible. Because while a chainsaw cultist at the end of your 9mm can be scary at times, nothing says "mommy, I'm scared" like being pickpocketed and then shoved in a dark basement with a 9-foot fetus monster. Yet in Half-Earth Socialism, the position you're in seems to signify the opposite. You aren't disempowered at all, you seem to have immense power. Sure, you may get usurped if you don't give the Musk monkeys a spaceship at some point, but ultimately, you're almost untouchable. And as long as a globe-spanning decision has even slightly to do with the environment, that's a decision you control. You literally dictate the kind of things children learn in school, what infrastructure is to be built up or torn down, and even direct the world's scientific R&D output. You are essentially Mother Gaia, and like I mentioned before, you probably won't lose because you got thrown out of office. But you will lose. Again and again and again, you will lose. And eventually, you'll lose so much to the point where you ask yourself and the Steam forums if you were even given enough time to win to begin with. See, there's another reason I alluded to earlier as to why PT is so frightening. Every other horror game I mentioned frightens me. All the Resident Evils I've played scare me. Alan Wake 2 scared me. Hell, BioShock scares me. These games scare me. But they scare me up until the point I turn off my Xbox. PT feels like it haunts my PlayStation. It is a piece of fiction, seemingly trying to pierce the veil into reality. A nightmare, feeling so substantive compared to all others that you question if it's something more. I don't flick on a light at 2 in the morning expecting to be jump scared by a zombie or Alex Casey. I turn that light on because for a split second, while my eyes adjust in the darkness, I think I saw Lisa. It's silly, I know. These games aren't real. PT may reach analog levels of horror, but it's not real. Half-Earth Socialism, though, is real. Climate change is real. The effects needing to be reversed before it's too late is real, and being too late already might be real. Half-Earth Socialism doesn't make me afraid that a demon's in my closet while I'm trying to sleep. It's just a potent reminder that the wildfires, record temperatures, and hurricanes I've been getting accustomed to are only the beginning of our new fast-approaching hell on Earth. That even in the face of ideal circumstances, our future may be fully out of our control. I remember the first time I held that DualShock 4. Its soft blue glow and the TV screen being my only sources of light in my childhood bedroom. Having no idea what I was playing, no understanding of the sense of dread I would feel after turning the fifth corner and being faced with a face that would prove too much for me then and now. This pinnacle of fear only being overtaken by a harsh red glow of my keyboard, weekend night with friends punctuated by Liquid IV, an open tab, and one more round of a rough-looking global management simulator. As if mashing my hands down from F5 to the spacebar, it all clicked. I was king of the world. No cares except for an overdue essay, all dashed when I realized that in this game, I had the world. All necessary infrastructure for radical change, an intercontinental model of hope so much greater than my own world had currently established. And I could not save this world. What hope was there for mine? In a moment at 2 a.m., I heard the beginning of the end in the ripples of rogue waves, the worrying winds denying any distraction. All I could see were the wildfires and junk piles all around me. I am not alone in this world, I see, and that's what scares me the most. Everything continues to go wrong. Hell on earth exhausts and suffocates past which is habitable. Death is in front, and the sins of our apathy lie not far behind. All we can do is reduce, reuse, recycle in vain until corporations bleed our planet dry. We're in a world that is being murdered senselessly. In a world that increasingly cries out in pain. And in a world lashing out in so much rage that we will soon have no delusion, no hope, no control.